Welcome to the Redirect Podcast. My name is Abigail Freshley.
And I'm Emily Rojas. The Redirect Podcast is a show where we shift the conversation back to books. We discuss themes from some of our favorite books and how those themes show up in real lived experiences.
On today's episode, we're diving into a world of emotional manipulation, poorly written women, and eternal sunsets. That's right. It's a Nicholas Sparks deep dive.
But first, if you've been enjoying the podcast, we'd like to humbly ask that you support us in a few simple ways. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and let us know that you love the show.
We'd also love for you to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Redirect Podcast. And if you really, really like the show, share it with a friend, please. Sharing the show with a friend is the best way to help us grow our community of book-loving nerds. And make it clear to them if you share that this episode, this isn't a Nicholas Sparks stan podcast.
Sorry.
This is we have to talk about it because
Nicholas
this man
Sparks
plagues our lives.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell by this.
Had this idea. You originally had this idea because I guess he has a
book coming out today. Who knows what it's called? Wouldn't recommend reading that, but we felt like it's timely because he has a book coming out today that we need to talk about why you should not buy his book, in my opinion.
I mean, maybe
it's called Counting Miracles.
Okay. See, that could be any book he's ever written.
Yeah.
I think let's maybe step back. Like, I have read so many, like in preparation for this episode, I realized I have read so many more Nicholas Sparks books.
Yes.
Or maybe some of them I'm hallucinating because I just saw the movie and I think that I read it.
Sure.
But I'm thinking like A Walk to Remember, read and watched.
Yes.
Safe Haven, read and watched.
Yes.
Dear John, read and watched.
Yes, definitely Dear John.
The Notebook. Also, The Choice, which is about somebody like deciding whether or not to pull the plug on their spouse.
Yes.
What else?
A lot.
I've read like so many, and now recently for this
Yeah.
episode, I read The Guardian, which was really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't.
But so many books. I don't know
definitely
why.
didn't think as well when I suggested this. I thought like I knew I had seen a lot of the movies, but I definitely did not realize how many books I had read by him. But then when I was reading through the list, I'm like, oh, I actually have read a lot of these, and I remember, like reading them in preparation to watch the movies or whatever. So, yeah, I agree. I read more than I thought I had. And now, unfortunately, want more. But I do remember liking them, but I also think I was like 11.
Yeah.
At this time, I did not like
when I was reading this book.
Yeah.
The one I read today, which we'll get into that later.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about books we read. But I think the reason I read these books is because when I was a younger lady and these movies were coming out, I was like, oh, this is just the most popular thing. I should read it, even though it's like definitely marketed towards like women older than I am now.
Age, yeah.
But I would say like the book that I read for this episode, the only circumstance in which I would read it organically is if I was like at a beach rental.
Yes.
And I didn't bring a book for some reason. And I didn't have the internet. And there was like a bookshelf and it was like all books by like L. Ron Hubbard or like, you know, something crazy. I just like didn't want to read or like culty. And then there was like a couple of dusty paperbacks. And one of them was The Guardian by Nicholas Sparks. That's when I would read this book and finish it.
That's true.
Like,
or for this. Forcing myself
or for this. It's only acceptable to read by a body of water, I think.
Yeah.
And like only if it's cloudy outside. Like you can't even read this if it's sunny outside because this is like
better for that.
This is like a sad. It's always sad.
Yeah. Something too, like we were really deeply obsessed with A Walk to Remember.
Yes.
Still am. Honestly, that movie, it's like a god tier experience in my opinion. I think actually
Zach watched this movie. So I made my husband watch this movie like less than a year ago.
Yeah.
It's within the last year, and he'd never seen it. He had no frame of reference for it. He was shocked at every twist.
Yeah, that's amazing.
At all of the jokes that I'm gonna put you in all my plays. The kiss on the during the play. Then when she's like, I have leukemia. I mean, spoiler, whatever. This book has been around for like 30 years, so.
Yeah, so I think
But yeah.
most people probably got into Nicholas Sparks through The Notebook, but I feel like for me and you, we were definitely in through A Walk to Remember. Like, I loved that movie first, and then I got into the books, and then I got into The Notebook later on. And I also want to say, like, despite the steaminess of the Notebook movie, his books are incredibly chaste, and so they are definitely appropriate.
Incredibly chaste.
Even though they're marketed to older women, I do think, you know, if you have to be an 11-year-old reading a romance novel, like, although I wouldn't classify these as romance necessarily, but like they're very appropriate. So.
Some of them are about to cross into historical fiction.
Yeah.
Because like in my book, there was like a fax machine.
He does a lot like where there's a dual timeline. Like there's a present day story and then there's something in the past.
Oh, mine was all 2003.
Oh.
And so it was like no one had cell phones. Like
you're saying it's about to become historical fiction.
It's about to cross over
Right.
into like, oh, I'm going to read this book that's a time capsule.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is, except for that, like I was alive during that. But
yeah,
you know, a lot of people
changed.
who, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It felt like a time capsule for sure.
Yeah. So before we go any further, I want to say we disavowed Nicholas Sparks. If you couldn't tell, I found out, unfortunately, through the research for this. Well, this is not a surprise, but I did find it out for the first time that he's definitely homophobic and allegedly racist. But I think we should know. Yeah, I linked this. I'll link it in the show notes. You can read it later. But he has a private school that he's involved in. And some emails were released about his feelings about an LGBT student club and why there's no Black people at the school. Just you need to read that. I'll link that. So disavow to him. None of that surprises me. I just was surprised it was so like if you had asked me, is Nicholas Sparks homophobic and definitely racist? I would say yes. But if I didn't know there was like evidence, like email evidence. So disavow to him and don't support him and don't buy his books. Like Abigail said, you can find these in the dusty corner of your next beach rental.
In this thing that you're going to link in the show notes, it references the quote homosexual agenda.
Yeah, like that's what we're dealing with here.
I mean, sometimes whenever I hear that, I want to be like, have you guys ever met a homosexual person?
Yeah.
Do you know what their agenda is? Like, it is not what you think.
Yeah. The answer is no.
It is like, no. Like, it is just hobbies that you're not interested in.
Yeah. Like, that's the agenda.
That's the agenda.
Okay. So disavow.
Oh, my God.
So what's the deal with Nicholas Sparks? First of all, he wrote The Notebook based on his wife's grandparents' love story. More on that when I talk about my book. But just know that The Notebook is directly based on his wife's family. His ex-wife, I should say. They're divorced now, which is part of his downfall. He got $1 million advance for that book. Advance. So
what year?
In like 1998,
more
I believe,
millions
or
now.
late 1990s, like around the time we were born.
Oh yeah, and I read Message in a Bottle too. Sorry,
yes,
I saw that on
and then that was his second book. I didn't realize The Notebook was his first book, so props to him. He really hit his hit on the first hit, you know. Out of the park. I don't know sports metaphors. Anyways, and then Walk to Remember was his third book. Importantly, he really like has a lot of disdain for the romance genre and often says his books aren't romance in the sense that like he will actively say romance books are trash. And he'll be like, romance is stupid. My books are very like not stupid. So
okay, pause here.
Yeah.
I think he's correct and incorrect.
Yes.
He's correct in the sense that his books aren't romance.
They're not,
because romances end happily.
Sure. Yeah. That's a requirement.
This is sexist.
Yes. It's pure sexism. Yeah.
He makes his money off of women.
Yes.
But he also hates them.
Yes. Yes. There's so much to say about this. I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were saying like, you know how sometimes you just meet a man and you can tell that he doesn't like women? Like, not like he's gay, but like he just doesn't like women as people. And that is how I felt reading Nicholas Sparks. You can be
any orientation and feel that way.
Yes. And that is how I feel about Nicholas Sparks. He clearly does not like women and like will say things about women, the way he writes women. And the way he's like, it's all, everything he does, you can tell so obviously that he just doesn't like women. And I think that has a lot to do with why he says such horrible things about the romance genre, because he feels like that's like, oh, women can write romance. I do something that is different and better. And like, it's really not.
I'm thinking about trying to come up with some examples and like try and find a through line here of the way that he writes women in his stories, because he does write from the women's POV a lot.
Yeah.
In my book that I recently read, The Guardian, it was multiple perspectives, all in third person, but from different perspectives. But yeah, I think often in his books, women make poor decisions or are, you know, maybe overly emotional.
Yes.
Or maybe one note kind of thing. Like, I only really want this one thing, or like, I'm not thinking clearly or something like that. I don't know. It just seems like it's not like this openly like misogynistic, like women are stupid.
No,
it's like
it's subtle.
They're just not full people.
Yes.
That's what it feels like.
And something I think that is very telling of that is when he talks about romance, he has said multiple times, like in a romance book, the formula is that a woman meets a man and has to fix that man and change the man, and then the man becomes better, and then they can fall in love and be happily ever after. Like, that's his perception of romance novels. And he says, like, in his, that doesn't happen. The man, like, tragedy will strike. The man doesn't have to change, though. Like, the man can just be this, like, almost, like, all his men are typically very stoic, non-emotional, and they don't really change. And some life events happen and they can maybe fall in love, maybe whatever. The tragedies happen. There's romance involved. But I think that's just interesting that that's his perception of romance. And that's also his, like, he doesn't believe that that is a thing that should happen. Where he's like, women come and change a man, and that's stupid, you know? So I feel like it's kind of similar to that of like, yeah, that's not like inherently like horribly misogynist, but it's something about the way you're viewing like the woman's role in this relationship and like a naggy woman stereotype type thing that is not great.
Also, you quoted something in the outline here where he's like, Sophocles and Euripides wrote their plays with the intention that the audience experiences the full range of human emotion, including both love and tragedy. More than that, they want to genuinely evoke these emotions without being manipulative.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, but I think one of the things about his books and others, like this is characteristic in other books I don't like, is when you include trauma to make, it's like the Colleen Hoover thing.
Yeah.
It's like you want to make the book seem like it's good just because it made you upset.
Yes, exactly.
Or reminded you of some sort of traumatic memory you have. In my book, a dog died.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the whole book is about this Great Dane and how he's the guardian of this woman. And at the end, the dog dies by rat poison. Okay? And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, oh, am I supposed to be crying right now?
Yeah.
Like the whole point of this dog storyline is
to
that
make it die.
I'll cry at the end. And I'll think that this book was good because I cried. That doesn't make your book good just because someone cried in it. Yeah,
exactly. And I would say, I think he has this one definition of manipulation that is not accurate, because I would say his books are incredibly emotionally manipulative, and that's bizarre that he doesn't see that. To be fair, though, his life has had a lot of personal tragedy. I thought this was kind of sad and interesting. His mom died in a horseback riding accident when he was 23. His dad then later died in a car crash, and his sister died of a brain tumor. Wow. His wife had suffered like some miscarriages, I think, and so he does have like an inordinate amount of freak tragedies in his life. So that obviously informs his writing. I
mean, you can write about tragedy without being emotionally manipulative.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like doing the actual experience justice. And I think that's the thing that we're trying to say is that like throwing in cancer for like emotion points isn't the same thing as like writing a book that discusses like the complexities of the emotions that you would go through if you were diagnosed with a terminal illness or your loved one was, absolutely. Or something like that.
Well, I think even like in The Notebook, it's like you could tell a great story about these, like the Notebook love story in itself is already great. Like them being separated, him like pining over her, like many years passing. There's war. There's being engaged to someone else. You could do all that without having to have her have Alzheimer's at the end and forget everything. Like that part is not like super necessary, but it's that kind of thing where he just throws it in there of like this grenade of the most emotionally depressing thing you can imagine to do a plot twist at the end. And then, yeah. So I agree with you. There's ways to do that.
Yeah, and it's not to say, and the thing is, like, he is capable of writing a good story.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because like some of his stories are really good.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, a lot of them do follow a formula.
Yeah.
There's usually a traumatic event.
We love formulas.
There's a girl meets boy, and then there's something that's keeping them apart, whether it's a ghost from her past, normally it's, or a family member, or an illness, or some sort of life event, and then they come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then there's might be like really one final plot twist. Yeah, exactly.
And then at the end, something really sad happens.
Exactly. So I really wanted to. I spent a lot of time actually trying to figure out like how did he become so popular, and just to kind of put him in context, especially for those our age who were babies or not born yet when this kind of started happening, and you kind of were born into a world where Nicholas Sparks was ubiquitous. So I really feel like it's aligned with Christian romance, even though he doesn't write Christian romance per se. I would classify these as Christian romance, especially the one I read. It was pretty explicitly Christian. How do you feel about the one you read? Or like A Walk to Remember is definitely.
There was premarital sex.
Oh.
Not described, but alluded to.
Okay. Yeah, they're on that like edge where they're very chaste, obviously. There's a lot of his books have sort of Christian values put in. The one I read dealt a lot with faith. A Walk to Remember deals a lot with faith, but not all of them are. So it's like, interestingly, he's kind of on the edge.
I would say mine was more like your guardian angels. Or like the spirit of people who've passed before you, like
interesting,
the spirit of people who've passed before you, looking out for you, kind of thing.
Okay, well, anyways, redeeming love is the big one, which we have to talk about one day.
God,
we're not there yet.
I can re-traumatize myself with that.
So that one came out in 1991, and that was a hugely popular book. If you don't know, just please Google that. I can't get into redeeming love right now. Also in America.
Okay, Redeeming Love is a fictionalized story set in like the 1800s based on the Bible story of Hosea and Gomer.
Yes.
And Gomer is a prostitute.
Yes. So
that's what it's about.
But it's huge. It's still huge. But it was very big, obviously, when it first came out in the 90s. Also in America, the 1980s, 1990s were very like big for evangelicals. They're growing in popularity too. And also, for the first time, Christian publishers, I didn't really know this history, like Tyndale House, Bethany House, and Zondervan, yes, they started branching out into fiction more, which before that they were doing mostly nonfiction, and Christian bookstores became a thing. And there was just like, because of all of this, there was more of a demand for cleaner romance. Like back then, the main romance were like the Bodice Rippers, the Harlequin, like super explicit, and not like what it is today. I feel like there's now such a range of romance novels, and they're so much more popularized. Back in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't as much diversity in any way. And obviously because he's a man, I think that leads to him being more successful. I just think men can write like extremely simple romance adjacent book and get $1 million for it. And if a woman wrote the same thing, it would be just in the trashy section at Walmart. It wouldn't it wouldn't get $1 million, you know?
I'm just trying to like I'm trying to get into his head and think like, okay, you had a traumatic childhood. You want to heal that with your art, which makes a lot of sense and is like a normal journey that people take.
Yeah.
But why is he always writing, I guess not romance, but romantic dramas?
I literally think this is, I think he had this story about his wife's grandparents that he was compelled by. He got $1 million for it. And then he said, I'm just going to keep doing this because this is now what I'm doing. I really think that's as simple as that.
And essentially he was like, I could sell stuff to women while also
hating them.
Not like not like doing them justice in the characters that I write,
Yeah.
or like not like including more of them in my process, or telling diverse stories about women and their
Right.
many different experiences.
No.
Most of the women in his stories are like victims of some sort.
Yes.
You know, they are a victim of an illness or of domestic abuse.
Mhm.
They're fleeing someone, or, you know, like a Romeo and Juliet situation.
Mhm.
Like the women are never the hero of his story.
No, ever. The man is the one saving them, even when the man, which I'll get into, is the source of all their problems.
Yeah.
Even then, they can't save
like,
themselves.
That was like the thing of like, okay, well, you want all men to go away? Like, who's gonna save you when someone's chasing you down the street at night? And it's like,
who's gonna be
chasing
me
me down the street at night? There's no men.
Exactly. Okay, that's my background on Nicholas Sparks. Now, can we talk about the books we've read, please?
Sure. I'll go first.
You should. Yours is more true to form. For Nicholas Sparks, mine's a little bit divergent as a teaser.
Okay. How I picked this book, I went on to Libby and I saw which ones were available immediately.
Exactly.
Then from there, I pared it down to what seemed the most interesting to me.
Mhm.
I chose The Guardian. This book was published in 2003. The female main character of the story is named Julie. Julie has an insane backstory that never comes back up.
That's
Julie
trend.
is homeless in Daytona Beach.
Oh my God.
And she's like, you know, digging through a dumpster behind an IHOP, basically.
Sure.
And this guy named Jim sees her and he's like, here, I'll buy you breakfast. And she was like, yeah, but as long as you don't make any advances on me, you know? And he's like, no, I don't, but whatever. And so he's like, here's the deal. If you move to this town in coastal North Carolina where I live, I'll help you get a job and a place to live. And, you know, that's it. Like, whatever. Because basically he like loved her or something.
Okay.
But he was like, but I'm still not like trying to like woo you. And so she like decided to buy a bus ticket. People are always buying bus tickets in these books, by the way. He loves a Greyhound bus.
That's true. Yeah.
So she gets on a bus, she goes to Daytona, and she ends up working for his aunt at a hair salon.
Okay.
And gets a house, and then they end up getting married.
Oh.
Then he dies of a brain tumor. This is all in the first like 5 pages.
I thought her backstory was done with being homeless. I didn't know that also involved her husband dying.
Being homeless never comes back up.
Okay.
It never resurfaces.
Did they say why? Like, why was she homeless in the first place?
Oh, she like her mom sucked and she ran away from home.
Okay.
I think maybe her mom had like an abusive boyfriend or something, and she was like, I have to get out of here, and she didn't know where to go. So whatever.
Okay. Well, anyways,
never comes back up.
Cool.
Never pays off. So that's a number one indicator for like trauma porn.
Yeah. Like there's no.
You
point
think
to
that this
it.
is so dramatic because she was homeless,
right?
But
no,
there was literally no use for it except to make you feel like it was more traumatic.
Right.
Okay, so she gets to this town. She lives there for years. Oh, so Jim dies.
Okay.
She's married to Jim
R.I.P.
for years.
Yeah.
In this town, and then he dies, but he knows he's going to die because it's a terminal illness. Sure. So he arranges for the Christmas after he dies for someone to deliver her a Great Dane puppy.
Okay.
That is his gift from him to her.
To God, if my husband died and then I got a puppy from him a year later, I would bring him back to life to kill him again. Like, that's the worst gift you can give to someone who doesn't want it.
And then the note on the puppy is like, I'll be watching over you. And so, you know, and then I got you this dog to watch over you.
Well, that's nice.
And the dog's name is Singer. Singer is this magical Great Dane that's never had to be trained and fully understands English. Literally, it says that. So Singer is like, you could be like, Singer, like, go get my lipstick from my nightstand or something like that. And Singer will go do it. Like, he's just magically like smart. Okay. Singer runs free reign in the town, goes to work with her every day. Also, Jim's best friend is a man named Mike.
Okay.
Mike is in love with Julie.
I can see where this is going.
Julie sees Mike as a friend.
Of course.
But it's been a year since Jim's death. And
is that long enough?
she's like, I think I'm ready to get back out there. So she starts dating people.
Sure.
And she dates one day, this very rich and fancy man comes into the salon and she does his hair, and his name is Richard.
Mm.
And he starts taking her on dates and like wooing her and stuff. And Mike is like, oh my God, I'm going to miss my chance.
Right.
Everything that Richard does is very extravagant. And she's like, yeah, maybe I like him. We'll see. Well, then Mike is like, I have to shoot my shot. Richard gets her like this locket. And one day he comes into the salon and she's not wearing it. And he's like, why aren't you wearing it?
Ugh.
Like, he's like really weird about it. And she's like, oh, this is kind of weird. So she says she kind of wants to break up with him. And so then Mike swoops in, whatever. And she ends up having to tell Richard, hey, like, it's been great getting to know you, but I don't want to hang out with you anymore. So now she's falling in love with Mike. This is happy. We like Mike. He's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, he's like a mechanic.
Right.
Blue collar.
That's the thing too. Like any guy who's extravagant and romantic is like, might as well be the devil to Nicholas Sparks. And the blue collar stoic normal guys are, not that there's anything wrong with that, but like being romantic is like a negative trait for a man in his world.
Yeah. If you are like give gifts or extravagant anyway, or have a stable job or whatever, doesn't like that. He likes blue collar, grease wiped on the thing. Yeah. Grease under my fingernails.
Stoic. Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyways, we get this like basically montage of Julie and Mike falling in love.
Cute.
Meanwhile, cut to Richard is a psychopath.
Sure. Like, exactly.
And he has made one of the rooms in his rental house a dark room and has been taking crazy photos and stalking Julie all across town.
Cool.
And we learn more about his backstory, in which like his mom was abused. And everyone's abused. And then like he ended up like accidentally killing both of his parents. And then he got married to this other lady, and then he ended up killing her. And her name was like also started with a J. And so when he gave her the locket, it was his like dead wife's locket. Also, his name is not really Richard.
Naturally.
He's been changing his identities over time because he keeps killing people.
Sure.
You're just like, what the? So anyways, it turns out he's crazy, and he starts calling her, get really jealous, harassing them, chasing them. They have no proof, no evidence. And then it all culminates in, there's also like this side quest where there's like this female cop that like is new on the scene from New Jersey, just came to town.
Absolutely.
And she's like trying to solve the case. It all culminates in this very dramatic scene at the end where they're staying at like a friend's beach house to get away from him while the police finish out the investigation. And he like creeps up there, poisons Singer with rat poison, because Singer like knows good people from bad people, and has already like tried to attack Richard several times. And then he dies.
Yeah.
But right before he dies, he attacks Richard one more time, saving Julie from murder by Richard.
Uh-huh.
He's not savable.
Sure.
And then
R.I.P.
in the end, he's dead, and Julie and Mike are together.
That was insane. So how did you feel after you read that book?
Pissed. I was just like, what? I don't like, there was opportunities to do more cool stuff.
Yeah.
There were like, if he had taken out a bunch, like it would have been interesting to, like if, for instance, the reader didn't know that Richard was a psychopath.
That would be interesting.
And he had kept it a secret, and there was more clues to divine it out. Because for a while, you think, oh, maybe Richard's not the guy who's calling her house and like breathing on the phone. There could have been a twist where it wasn't actually Richard, it was somebody else. Yeah. Like there were opportunities to do this.
Just a little more nuance.
Oh, and also one of her coworkers gets killed by Richard and left in a ditch.
Oh my gosh.
It's like
that's too much going on.
There's lots of killing.
Yeah.
And at the end I was just like, okay, well, we all saw this coming.
Right.
And then you just killed the dog.
Like for what? Because
why did you kill the dog?
The tragedy. Because he can't have a happy ending. A pure, unadulterated, happy ending cannot exist in his life.
Also, like, whatever. I just feel like there's a lot to be said about, like, you can kill people in books.
Yeah.
But killing dogs.
It's just cruel.
It kind of feels like a lot.
Yeah.
So I was kind of pissed.
She's already lost her husband. And then this is the guardian dog. Now he's dead too. Is
Yeah, he
is the
gave his life for
dog,
her,
maybe the
basically.
dog is going to send another dog, and 1 year from the dog's death, another puppy will appear.
I don't know. I'm just like, or, it's all so dumb. So,
Wow.
it felt like it was just like a Mad Libs of traumatic events that could happen.
Yeah.
And at the end, I was really glad it was over.
Wow.
I don't think
I
it's
don't
his
know.
best for sure.
Well, I'm not sure he has the best. I actually think probably The Notebook was his best. We should have read that.
Yeah. One Trick Pony.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
So that was long-winded, but that was what
that was
I
crazy.
did. So I hope that was a good synopsis. And I gave it 2 stars on Storygraph.
2 stars might as well be 0 stars. I've never given 1 star. So if I give something a 2, that you just know that's the worst
A 1
possible
star,
rating.
that's even a 1 star actually feels like colder than 0 stars.
Yeah, I would never do it.
That's
it would have
so
to be
cold.
offensively bad. But yeah, 2 stars is like don't waste your time. Okay, well, speaking of 2 stars, I read The Wedding. Which I also gave 2 stars. So this is a sequel to The Notebook, which is what drew me to it. It might be one of the worst things I've ever read. It follows the son-in-law of Noah. So Noah and Allie, if you haven't read The Notebook, they are the main couple in that book. They, as we said, fall in love, and then she gets Alzheimer's.
Hold it.
Yeah.
He based this off his wife's grandparents?
Yes. And now he's writing about the son-in-law. And if you
So
want to know why he got
his
divorced,
father-in-law?
either that,
He's
I think it's himself. Yes. He's divorced. He got divorced in 2015. I think this is a self-insert novel. I think this is about him.
Okay.
And that's my theory. And it reveals to me that he is not a good person or a good spouse.
Okay, say more.
Okay.
So this is like semi-autobiographical.
It feels like it. Yes. It feels very autobiographical. So it's really kind of confusingly written because the perspective is of this son-in-law. And he starts off by telling us that a year ago, he screwed up his anniversary with his wife. It was their 29th anniversary. And she had been like dropping all these hints that she just wanted, like, she wanted to have this like romantic night where he got her flowers and made a reservation and bought her like a new outfit. And like she had been so clear about what she wanted for this anniversary. And he didn't do anything. And then he got his assistant to buy her a tennis bracelet the day of, and then he drove home and was like, here you go. And
did the character think that this was a good plan?
No, he knew he had messed up. Okay. But he didn't seem to care about his wife enough to just do what she asked, which was explicit. Like, she was so clear. Sure. So that was a year ago. And so he's telling this, like, a year ago I did this, and I've spent the last year trying to fix it. And so it's like the whole thing is written like in past tense, like first person past tense. So that I didn't like. So you're reading.
So it's like, I went to the store and I.
Yes. And
like,
he's
and
also
like
telling you, it's like so tell, don't show. He's like, we have 3 children. Oh, this is what I said. I hate this guy.
Oh, yeah. Do you think that's part of his shtick too? Is that like he knows that women are reading his books, so he never leads anything to be like a surprise. He's like, let me spell it out for you really plain.
It is
because I know that your brains are so tiny.
You're so dumb. You can't possibly understand if I don't clearly tell you. So yeah, he said he loves his kids, but his wife raised them, and like he feels like an outsider in his own home, and he kind of hates his children. It seems like this disdain for his kids is like dripping off the page, except one, Anna. She's the firstborn. She's a daughter. He's like, she's my favorite. I wouldn't tell anybody that. Well, you're telling me, okay? So, anyways, he keeps describing like how he's not romantic, and he's like, he says he's dependable, faithful, but I am not romantic. And then his wife goes off after this anniversary. She's upset. She goes to stay with their son in New York for a few weeks, and she's like, I'm going alone. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, wait a second, I think my wife is falling out of love with me, so I have to get back on track. And so for a year he doesn't seem to do much. Like, it's just him describing how their marriage has fallen apart. For example, she should have divorced him 30 years ago, because he's talking about when they had a newborn, This is a quote. "Good morning, I might say when I saw her staggering into the kitchen. How did the baby sleep?" Instead of answering, she would sigh impatiently as she moved toward the coffee pot. "Up a lot?" I'd ask tentatively. "You wouldn't last a week," she said. Bro, why aren't you helping her with the baby?
Do you think the character's motivation is to get his wife to stay with him or to make his wife happier?
To stay with him. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll get to that. That's clear. So that's when I said Jane should have divorced him 20 years ago. My God. Yeah, because if your husband is asking you, how did the baby sleep last night when he's watching you
and you don't already know?
Like, what the?
Also, like, you didn't hear the baby?
That's what I'm saying. He's just casually like, such a anyways. Okay, so his whole thing, let me just tell you his whole thing. Okay. He was an atheist when they met, but he she was a Christian, and he was studying to be a lawyer. And he was like, I will not have a girlfriend or even look at a woman until I have a stable job. So I have to get through law school, get through college. So he basically has never dated. She's the first person he ever kisses, even though he said he's had 6 girlfriends. But she's the first person he's ever kissed. And then she like has to convince him to date her because he's like, I will not date until I get out of law school and like am partner in a law firm. So she convinces him to date eventually, and then he's 26 when they get married. But again, he brings that up a lot. So anyways, he like goes to her dad for advice, Noah, who's from The Notebook. He's still alive in this version. In the movie, they both kind of implied to die at the end. In this book, Noah's still alive, but Allie is dead. And so Noah believes this swan is Allie. So he's always out there feeding the swan because he thinks it's his wife reincarnated. And he always, this main character is always going out there to talk to Noah. And he's like, what should I do? And Noah's like, you need to like woo her again, basically. And she's like, he's like, I have the perfect idea. Okay. But you don't know what that idea is. That's just like hidden from the reader, even though he's telling you in excruciating detail every other aspect of his life. So a year passes.
Oh, yeah, he loves doing that. He loves explaining I picked up the watch from the nightstand.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
then I slipped it on my left wrist and put it on the second notch.
Yes. So it's a year later. Nothing's changed between them. But then all of a sudden, his daughter calls them and is like, hey, I'm getting married and we want to get married before grandpa dies, which seems like it could be any day now. And so we're getting married next week. And hope you'll be there. So the wife is like projecting because when they got married, again, he was an atheist, so he wouldn't allow a pastor to marry them. He wanted
why did they get married?
Yeah, I don't know. He wanted a justice of the peace. And then he was like, I have to work. So they just like got like married at a park or something with the justice of the peace, and he went back to, then they went to a B&B, made love for the first time, which he describes, and then he went back to work the next day.
Making love, please. I can't. I'm gonna throw up.
And then they had no honeymoon, they had no real wedding, and she's like projecting now because she's like, I'm not gonna let that happen to my daughter. And so she's like, we will make a wedding happen in 1 week. And then he kind of sees this as his chance to like win her back, and he's like, leave it to me. I'm going to do everything. You guys just go, you do these things. I will call all the guests. I will get the caterer. I will fix up this old Notebook house that's been abandoned since Allie and Noah went to this retirement home. I'm going to fix up the house so we can have the wedding there. So he's got like construction people. He's got cleaners. He's taking a whole week off work, which he's never done. She says he has never taken an entire week off work in their 30 years of marriage ever. But he's doing it now, and he's gonna win her back this way. He makes dinner 2 times, and this blows her mind so much.
Oh, it's so sad.
And then he's like, let me try to have a conversation with my wife.
This is like that scene from Fireproof when he brings the Chick-fil-A soup, and she's like, and a Tylenol?
Yes. You're like, bro.
Who is this man? I'm like, oh my God, girl.
Respect
your head up.
She should have gotten divorced
your chin up
so long ago.
Sad.
Yes. So over the course of this week, she starts falling back in love with him, he thinks. And literally, he has this revelation. I have to read this. This week, I hadn't been focusing on my problems and doing my best to correct them. This week, I'd been thinking of her. I committed myself to helping her with family responsibilities. I'd listen with interest whenever she spoke, and everything we discussed seemed new. I'd laughed at her jokes and held her as she cried, apologized for my faults, and showed her the affection she both needed and deserved. This was like his revelation. And I was like, bro, you've been married for 30 years, and I...
Like,
how did you make it?
How have you gotten this far?
How does she put up with you for 30 years and you just now realize?
In your marriage, in friendship, in a
just
working relationship.
No, he's like, man, the craziest, darndest thing.
The thing, and it's like hearing men talk about that that me and the girls went over in our third grade sleepover.
Yes. And he's 60, okay?
Like, look, I don't want this to just be like a shit on men podcast,
no,
but
this episode is.
But it is kind of, this is like a for real thing.
Yeah.
It is kind of shocking, like how late in life a lot of men discovered the concept of like empathy.
Yeah. I don't even think he did discover. I think he discovered if I just pay attention to her, she'll love me again. Like, it's still just self-centered. But I agree. Okay. So to wrap it up, they have this the night before the wedding is their 30th anniversary. And she comes home and he has laid out a dress on the bed. He's
picking on her clothes.
That's what she wanted. Okay. She says multiple times, to be fair, she's like, I'm glad you worked so hard. I'm a traditional lady. I wanted to stay home with the kids. I don't want this like modern marriage. Okay. So he lays out the clothes. He draws her a bath and he leaves like oils and stuff. And he's like, take a bath, relax. I know you've been stressed this week about this wedding you've planned in 1 week. Which again, you guys are projecting because your daughter was totally fine just eloping. Anyways, he's like, a limo will be there to pick you up at 8. So be ready at 8. And he's like, also, there's a dig in there. He's like, don't take too long to get ready. Cause he always keeps mentioning throughout this whole thing how she'll take a long time to get ready. And like a long time to him is
because
20 minutes.
She lives for your approval.
Thank you. So he's like, don't take too long. Be ready exactly at 8 because there's someone waiting for you.
Yes, master.
Then he's at the Notebook house and he has like cooked dinner there for her. And he set up like a table. It's ready for the wedding the next day, so it's all decorated, but he has a private table for them. He makes dinner. They go out and like look at the stars, and she's in love with him again. So everything's fixed. The next day is the wedding. Her kids come. Their kids come. They're getting ready. She's getting ready. And the kids are like, man, you guys really seem happy again. And his son is like, she seems like she's been really sad for a long time, but actually she seems happy. And I was really mad at you. And I was like, y'all need to leave your kids out of your marital problems anyways.
Literally.
But because she went to stay with him in New York and she was venting about all her sadness. Anyways, the mom comes down the stairs. Everyone's there. And then this is the grand twist of this book. It's not her daughter's wedding. Her daughter's not engaged. The wedding is for her to have the mom to have her redo wedding with the dad that she never got. And he's been planning this for the whole year. You didn't know this, but he was planning this all year. That was his whole plan all along. And that's why it was able to come together in a week, because he's actually had everything booked for like a year before and he was just faking it. So they get married. And then the part that's supposed to make you cry is that earlier in the day, Noah is all depressed because the swan's not there. He's trying to go feed it and it's not there. And he's like, Allie left me again. I thought she wouldn't leave me again. Why did she leave me? He's crying. And they're like, come on, grandpa. Like, everyone's like, you're busy, grandpa, but okay. And then at the end of the wedding, they it's the reception. Everyone's mingling. And the main guy goes out and he sees Noah by the pond. And he's like, what are you doing out here, old guy? And then Noah's like, she came. She had to be here for the wedding. And then the swan is like majestically in the water.
I'm so mad.
And that was the end. I do not recommend
him
this book.
planning the wedding secretly for a year is horrible.
It's horrible.
I would be so annoyed.
And like, he didn't change
in on it.
Like, he also didn't change his... Like, he makes it clear he did not change his actions of cooking dinner or talking to her treating her like a human being until the week of this wedding. Like all this like falling in love again happens in 1 week, but he's been thinking about this for a year. So that's even more annoying. I don't know. She should have divorced him a long time ago. If this is how he is, I know why he got divorced in 2015, because I just like this guy there. He just seems like the worst. Respectfully. Like it blows her mind on page 359. She's like, you're someone new all of a sudden. You apologize for not being around. Tell me you love me out of the blue, listening to me talk, ordering pizza and having fun.
Listening to me talk? Oh my God.
This should be like the bare minimum of your marriage. Is like, listens to me talk, has fun with me, apologizes when they're not around a lot. Like, that is such a baseline.
That is so sad. Oh my God. And then if I was treated like that for 30 years, let me tell you one thing. 1 week would not repair that.
Exactly. One big grand romantic gesture would not fix that.
Nothing.
And it shouldn't have. And she should have left him a long time ago. She should have left him when he started asking, was the baby up all night? I would have committed a homicide, respectfully. Anyways, so we had a great time with our Nicholas Sparks books. If you like his books, that's fine. Not here to yuck yums. But you know what we should do? How we did for Colleen Hoover episode? Yes. We should do a read this instead for the Nicholas Sparks books.
We're going to do that.
Because to me, Colleen Hoover and Nicholas Sparks are cut from the same cloth. If he was just a little more graphic, he would be writing Colleen Hoover books. So,
it's the same. It's the same
vibe. Which is
same
fine
song,
if you
lyrics.
Like that, but I don't. And I like men who like women. Call me crazy.
Personally.
Anyways, what have you been reading recently?
Meanwhile, like Zach has gone like an hour without being like, I love you. And I'm like,
literally, you're like, okay.
Okay, I'll just go like cry.
Exactly. Oh my
that's
God.
That's an unrealistic standard, and I know that.
No, I was talking to my mom about this book, and I was like, you know how sometimes people will say that romance novels give too high of expectations for men? Like, this book actually does the opposite. It gives too low of expectations for men. And if you read The Wedding and you're like, wow, I wish my husband would act like this, I am really begging you to get a divorce. I am just imploring you from the bottom of my heart, because this is
while no fault divorce is still a constitutional right,
while we can
clean. Do it while you can, because your window might be closing.
Even at the end,
on November 5th.
Even at the end, this guy still sucks. So raise your standards.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, I'm proud of Nicholas Sparks' ex-wife. Good for her. If this is what he's like.
Write a memoir.
Yeah, please.
Would you like to come on the pod?
Please come on the pod.
We would love to have you.
Okay.
Read
anything good?
Yeah, well, I mean, Avi, I've been texting you a lot about the pairing, which you talked about and read. I'm almost done. Sadly, like, I've had a really fun and busy weekend.
Yeah.
I keep on having to put the book down, and I'm really close to the end, but also, like, I kind of want to drag it out a little bit. It's so good. If you love food, you'll love this. If you love descriptions of food specifically, if you like Europe, you'll like this. If you like second chance love, but in a good way.
In a good way.
Not like we just broke up, now we're going to get together. No. You broke up and now you're going to grow and figure out your way back to one another.
Exactly.
If you love really sweet, like golden retriever energy, like kind, artistic, just it's so good. And I keep squealing, and you were like, don't tell me if you don't like this book.
Yeah.
And I can tell from like the first 15%, I was like, no, I love this book. Yeah. It's so good.
So good. It's so good.
And I just want to be in it.
Yes, I know.
So
okay.
So thank you for the recommendation. It's so good. And I highly recommend that people read it. And then this book also inspired me because like one of the characters is a sommelier. And I watched, like, on the side, this great documentary called Somm. And it's about 4 guys who are it looks kind of bad because it was made in 2012.
Yeah.
And back then, I don't even think it was good quality. But it follows 4 guys studying to take the Master Sommelier test, which is like
that's
only 197 people in history have ever become Master Sommeliers.
Yeah.
It's like very, very, very difficult. And And that was really fun. You might like it if you like this book.
Okay. Good to know. I really love this book.
Okay. What about you?
Okay, first, really fast, I read another book you talked about recently, which was The Will of the Many. It's so good. So I don't need to recap
it. Was really good, right?
But it was really good. I think if people, I keep saying, like, if you like the part of Fourth Wing that's like the magical school and the fantasy world that's accessible enough for people who sometimes have a hard time with fantasy, I think you'll like this. If that's the part of Fourth Wing that you really like, I think you would like this book.
It's like dark academia vibes.
Yes. And I also have read a lot on Reddit about this author's other series, which was his first books that he ever published. And people have said like they're a little more rough around the edges, like this one's more polished, but they said the ending was like the most amazing, tied up all the loose ends ending ever, like so well plotted. And so I have a lot of trust and faith in the plotting for this book that everything will be wrapped up, because there's a lot of questions unanswered, but I just have a lot of faith in this author based on what I've seen.
It's classic fantasy in the sense that at the end, like the last like 20 pages or 15 or even maybe 5 pages, like there's a, that always happens in fantasy books. I feel like it's like the craziest thing happens right before you're done.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
yes, I had to reread the last few pages multiple times because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So it's very
and
twisty.
Unfortunately, the second book is not out yet.
No.
So if you are somebody who like has to have that,
maybe wait. I've seen early 2025, so I think it's coming down the pipeline.
It's coming. And it's not a short book, so if you want to take your time with it, it would be great fall reading.
It would be great fall reading. The second book I read, I think you would really like. It is by another author we both really liked, a recent book by, which is Alison Cochrane. And it's The Charm Offensive. Yes, The Charm Offensive.
I've heard so many good things about this.
It was so good. So it follows Dave, who is a producer for essentially The Bachelor. And he wants to be a writer, but he feels like there's not a big market for, like, he writes queer love stories, and also I believe he's Indian American. And so like he's kind of like, there's not a lot of like people of color writing queer stories in general in Hollywood. And so he's kind of settled for being a producer on the show, but he like genuinely believes that true love can be found on this Bachelor-esque reality dating show. Like, he is a true believer, will not accept any criticism, is deep in it. And so they have cast this lead. His name is Charlie. He is a famous tech mogul guy, but extremely smart, extremely like mega genius. Had started a company with one of his friends, and then recently, so he struggles with OCD and had not disclosed that diagnosis to anyone he worked with, and like was triggered at work, had a panic attack, had kind of a breakdown publicly, has tanked his reputation because his supposed best friend forced him out of the company. And so his way of like redeeming his reputation is to go on this dating show and appear normal, which is a bigger challenge than he expected, because like certain things that trigger his OCD is like being touched and new situations. And so he is paired with Dave to be his producer. And Dave's like, okay, I am so committed to the show. I will do whatever it takes to make sure you can come across well. We saved the show because it's been struggling in the ratings, and you're going to be a big boost for us, and we can help you. And so he's like, why don't we start going on practice dates so that you'll feel more comfortable? Like, I will act the part, and we'll do things that you're comfortable with. We'll help you feel like confident. And then when you go on these dates on the show, you'll feel more comfortable. So in their off time, they're doing these little practice dates. It's like, I was laughing out loud. I listened to the audiobook, which I really do recommend. It had great voice actors, 2 different guys portraying Dave and Charlie, because it's a dual perspective book. But I laughed a lot. I felt emotions. It's like a compressed timeline, but friends to lovers, because they really do form this really nice friendship before they're able to admit, like, we love each other. And it was really emotional.
I've heard amazing things.
And I think Alison Cochrane's great with like, she kind of incorporates like people who struggle with mental illness or like neurodivergence into her stories. And I thought this was a really nice a story that shows like all kinds of people deserve love and can find love, and it doesn't matter like who you are. So it was really, really cute. And if you like The Bachelor, I think you'll like it.
Okay, I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, enjoy it. All right,
y'all.
bye.
Bye.